Welcome back to Trans Guy Reacts. My name's Nick, and I make videos about women's basketball, collegiate or professional. Today I'm going to talk about the Fever versus Sparks game that was today, Friday, May 24th. If you are new to this channel, I talk about women's basketball in the most unbiased but biased way because I've been a fan for 20 plus years. So if you're coming here because you are a Caitlin Clark fan / stan, this ain't the channel for you. You're going to have to go ahead and dislike this video so I don't come up in your feed anymore. Also, I don't want you as a viewer. I want people here who actually love women's basketball and care about the entire league, not just one person. So yeah, just please, I'm not gonna be sucking on her clit this video. Sorry. So let's get into it. Also, if you care, you do like this kind of commentary and you like when people are honest and real about the game, go ahead, like, share, subscribe. I don't have the comment section on because I don't have time for trolls, especially men. Men who are the trolliest of troll and have never watched women's basketball until this year. So let's get into it. This was a game that was going to be at the Los Angeles Crypto Arena. I've actually been to that arena. I went to a game last year. I literally flew there just for the game. It was pretty good. A pretty cool arena. It's big. It's got capacity for a lot. Apparently, it was a sellout. This is like the most people they've had since 2017 when they played a game against the Phoenix Mercury. So that was pretty cool that they were able to sell this out again. But they sold out last game too. There was a couple games ago that they had at their home court. So it's not their first sellout just because Clark's there. No, they've been selling out arenas for a long time. But got to give the fanfare to Clark because she's got all the buzz. So Fever coming into this game 0-5, and the Sparks coming in 3-2. Not surprising that the Fever are losing. They're a losing team. Last year they lost 27 games. I think they were 13-27, and the year before they were 5-31 or something like that. They were terrible. But last year they got better because they had Boston, the Rookie of the Year. So I knew they got better that year. They still suck. So now they have Clark. I was like, okay, they're gonna get better over time, but they're still gonna suck. They're not gonna be a great team. But there's possibilities of them making a playoff run. So cross our fingers for that they get back to their greatness where, back when Tamika Catchings was on the team, they were a great team. But that was like 9 years ago. So anyway, but Sparks have been up, playing really great games. But yeah, let's get into it. So to start, I would say from the beginning of this game, the LA Sparks were playing so much better than the Fever. They were just clicking better. They had just more ball chemistry together. In Boston, Aaliyah Boston for the Fever were having some trouble. And then Clark was turning over the ball in the beginning of the game. But she does score. In the very beginning of the game, she does score, but she is turning over the ball a little bit. It was 7-14 with 5 minutes left in the first quarter, and I was like, it's kind of what you expect from Fever, to be honest. Cameron Brink, they talked about why Cameron Brink wears the number 22 and why Caitlin Clark wears the number 22. So Clark wears it because it's her birthday. Her birthday is January 22nd. Cameron wears it because that used to be her mom's number when her mom played basketball back at Virginia Tech. Cool thing about her mom is she played basketball at Virginia Tech. She met her husband there. Her mom is her mom's best friends with Steph Curry's mom, so they've been friends forever. So that's why Cameron Brink is cool with the Curry fam, because that's her cousin, brother, whatever Steph is. So they've been cool. And then also Cam Brink's mom and dad both work for Nike, and Cameron Brink's mom she was a product manager, and she worked on Don Staley's shoe, which is so freaking cool. The basketball royalty right there. All right, so then getting back to the game, I do want to point out, I just want to say, Caitlin Clark is, a very nice person, and she actually respects the entire game of basketball and has repeatedly talked about the league, how the league is important, and how it's about the whole thing and not just her. But her stans, her trash ass stan fans, I call them stans because they're not really fans, are always trashing the WNBA, trashing other players, bringing up things that are not even issues, and it's annoying. They are terrible. And us old fans are really not about it. We're just y'all, we can celebrate Caitlin Clark, but we can also celebrate all the other players. You don't have to put down other people, especially if she's not, Clark isn't playing well. Then they go on the offensive and attack other people on her team, attack the coach. It's crazy. It was like, what are y'all doing too much? Aaliyah Boston had to delete her social media because of Clark's stands attacking her. That's crazy. Sending her death threats and shit. That's wild. This is why I'm like, if you're a Caitlin Clark stan, you're not actually like a fan of basketball. You're just a fan of her shooting 3-point shots. Go away. Why are you here? Why are you watching this video? Go, be gone. Anywho, back to the game. Boston was speaking of Aaliyah Boston, she was playing a lot better from the start. She was really getting in the paint. It just takes her took her a few games to get in, and she didn't play very well in the beginning of the season. But I mean, a lot of people don't play well in the beginning of the season. It's also her sophomore year. Like a lot of sophomores kind of have like a little bit of a slump, I would say, when they start playing. But she's playing really good. Rakia Jackson gets into the game for LA and gets 2 fouls in 2 minutes. I was like, Rakia, what are you doing? She's usually way more consistent, so I was a little surprised by that. But she redeems herself later. It was 15-22 at the end of the first, so I was like, Sparks are up. They're playing like a team. I'm loving it. And this is the first end of the quarter. De'Arca Hamby had 10 points and 5 rebounds already, and then Cameron had 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 block. No one was in double figures for the Fever. At that point, Clark had 2 points and 1 turnover. Clark gets her second points driving to the basket, and it makes me think for her, the only way that she's really good is when she can make her own shot. She's not really good at defense, not yet. Maybe in a couple of more games she can get, maybe later in the season, the second half of the season. But it's really hard for her to really play team ball. She's good at passing it to one person, but not like passing around. But yeah, and it seems like she was only getting her points when she drove to the basket, and she was completely open. Zaya Cook was on her, and it was making Clark irritated. It was pretty funny. And Zaya was able to affect her shot quite a bit. And then you'll see that later too with Laysia. Laysia was like on her like white on rice. It was 8 minutes left in the second quarter. It's a 6-point game, and Chrissy Sides uses a challenge for a turnover possession. And I'm like, that is ridiculous. That was stupid. It's not that serious. We're still in it's the beginning of the second quarter. You need to be saving your challenges for when it matters. But whatever, I wouldn't use a challenge until the third or fourth quarter. It does not make sense to be using it in the second quarter, the beginning of the second quarter. But whatever, they did win it. They won the challenge. They get the ball back, and then there's a shot clock violation off of the possession. So it was a waste of time. Whatever, you use a timeout, drop a play, but it still didn't work. Cameron Brink and Aaliyah Boston were going at it. They were trading fouls left and right. It was pretty funny. I love to see the defense. And then when they would have the players, I don't know who was shooting. I forgot who was shooting, but when they shoot the free throw, and if you miss it, the Sparks Arena plays the song bit of "Never Would Have Made It," which is so fun. It's great. It's great entertainment. I love it. LA is all about the entertainment, and that's great. You want that. Caitlin Clark was showing that she is a really great passer, but cannot handle any defense on her. Her shots are really easily affected. She gets very flustered when people are on her playing defense. And I would say she only got doubled a few times in the game. It was mostly 1-to-1 on her defensively, and she could not handle it. You could see her her face getting flustered and stuff. Oh well. Rakia Jackson gets her first shots on free throws, and then later on starts to get more into the game. Cameron Brink gets 3 fouls and has to sit for the last 4.5 minutes of the second quarter. Very typical for her. She always in foul trouble, and it's very rookie shit. That's some rookie shit. It is what it is. But then Rakia Jackson comes in and goes off for like 7 straight points. So I was like, all right, the other rookie going off, the other rookie has to sit down, the other rookie steps up. It's all good. The Fever are losing at this point. It's 29-36. They're trying. It's really funny though. They're losing, and the announcers are trying very hard to highlight everything Clark is doing that she's doing well, because she's not shooting the ball well. So it's pretty funny. They're like highlighting her stat sheet, but it's like not impressive of a stat sheet. It's actually pretty like average, but it's not a bad stat at that time, but it wasn't amazing stats. And I was just like, wow, y'all are really trying to put this girl on a pedestal. But sure, whatever. Even though at that point De'Arca Hamby had a better stat sheet than her, but they didn't say nothing about Hamby, but okay. And then from the sounds in the arena, it was about, I would say, like 20% Fever fans, and most of them were sitting sitting right behind the bench of the Fever team. But it was a packed house for the Sparks. Lots of Sparks fans. Love to see it. Like I said, it was their second sellout. It was great to see Coach Lindsey Gottlieb there for USC, the college team, and it's a great little connection there because Lindsey Gottlieb used to be the head coach for Cal for the Berkeley, and then Lasia Clarendon was on that team as her former player, so they got that connection there, and so I love the crossovers and stuff. Anyway, back to the game. Rickea Jackson gets her third foul. 2 minutes left in the second quarter and has to sit. Rookie shit. Dearica Hamby loses Clark on this like behind the back pass. It was so great because I'm like, there's all this make about Clark being a great ball handler. I'm like, yeah, there's other ball handlers in the W. So the best of the best of the best with honors in the W, and there are other people who can handle the ball. And I just thought it was a great little highlight there. But they didn't want to like replay it, but it was a nice little behind the back. It was great. Aaliyah Boston, no, sorry, not Aaliyah Boston. Excuse me. There's a block on Clark from Lee Yiru, and fans do not like it because she gets called on the foul, but it looked pretty clean, although they might have just got her for like a bump on the side, and Kurt Miller wanted to review it, but it was too late, and Clark ends up making one of the two shots, and then immediately right after Clark picks up a foul against Clarendon, they go to review and confirm that it's a take foul, so it's a technical, and they choose Lexi Brown to shoot the free throw, and she gets it. And as I said, like Caitlin Clark gets very, very frustrated about defense. She's not used to being defended. When she was in college, no one was defending her. She would make these these like logo 3 shots because no one was on her ass. And I was like, that ain't gonna be happening in the W. Like, they actually play basketball. So, like I said, rookie shit. That foul was like total frustration, rookie kind of stuff. But, whatever. They did highlight that Cheryl Miller was there, which I love to see. There's some other celebrities there. To be honest, I don't watch men's basketball, so I don't know who those people are. But apparently there are some male basketball players. It is 34-45 at the half. The breakdown in the box score at that point was Dearica Hamby had 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. Whoa. Cameron Brink had 6 points and 6 rebounds. Rickea Jackson had 7 points. For Fever, Aaliyah Boston had 8 points, 4 rebounds. She's doing better. All right. Christy Wallace had 7 points. Caitlin Clark had 5 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. Average. Okay. So LA was winning the first half, and their rookies were playing much better than Clark. Absolutely. I think they just play better as a team. But I would say Aaliyah Boston was playing way better this game than she has in the past. But I was thinking at the half, I was like, you know what though? Caitlin Clark is known so far in these past 5 games to make better decisions in the second half, and she makes her adjustments, and I was like, this basketball is a game of runs, and I was like, Fever could come back from this. It's not that big of a deficit. The last 2 games were pretty close. I was like, maybe Fever could win this. It's possible. Never count anyone out in the W. It's anybody's game, no matter what the score is at the half. Before they get into the third quarter, they have this performer for the halftime show. His name is Kalen For Real. If that's not a Gen Z damn name, I don't know what is. I've never heard of him, but he does have a custom Sparks jersey on, and I like that with his name on it. I think that's pretty cool. But he's a typical rapper that has kind of like a little bit of an R&B vibe. It was a good performance. To be honest, not that interesting, but the beat was good. So, great. LA, like I said, LA is known for the performances. Anyway, so we get the start to the third quarter. Lasia is all over Clark again, and she cannot handle it. So she has to pass the ball repeatedly because she can't handle the defense. Clark to Boston does this great pass, and Boston is able to finish. Kurt Miller has to take a timeout. It's 38-45. We have 8.5 minutes left in the third. Right now, you're seeing Clark being a much better passer. She's starting to figure out, like, girl, you ain't making those points. Pass the ball. So she can't do these open threes. She kept doing them, and she wouldn't make them because of the defense, and she's just not hitting it. It's like, girl, it takes time for you to understand. Like, if you're not doing something right, you need to focus on the things you are doing right. And she did. She started realizing, I'm much more effective on the pass. So she started passing more, and that is key to the rest of this game. Cameron Brink gets her 4th fucking foul on Boston. It has to come out. Rickea comes in. Boston makes 1 of 2 of those shots. It's 41-45. Fever coming back. Like I said, it's possible. They're only down 4 points. Clark fouls Clarendon again. Rookie shit. God, so ridiculous. Clark does steal the ball, though, but Nurse cleanly blocks her at the rim. It was like a straight up, just like this, and blocks her ass. She does end up getting the pass, and then they lay up the ball. So then it's 43-45. Whoo, 2-point game. Holy shit. Then someone makes a score again. It's 45-45. It's tied. 6 minutes left in the third. I'm like, oh man, Fever's got their number. I was like, ooh, they might win this game. At that point, I was like, if it's tied now, the Fever could win this. Absolutely. Fever go up. They get the first lead, 50-48, and it's 3.5 minutes left in the third. And I was like, yeah, I think Fever might win this game. Even though it's the third quarter, I could see that the Sparks were having difficulties. They were turning the ball over so much, and I was like, ooh, it's not looking good. Clark continues to try to make these threes. They are so bad. I'm like, girl, just at that point, I made my note. I was like, girl, just pass the ball. You're not shooting well tonight. Just pass it. Anyway, Katie Lou is not scoring very well either, but she is playing some really good defense. They brought Katie Lou in here to shoot the three, but she hasn't been shooting very well, and give her a break. She just had a baby, but she is making up for it in her defense for sure. Ari McDonald gets 2 quick fouls. The first one was on Clark for holding, but I feel like that was bullshit. Like, Clark actually should have got the foul for that. But the second one, Ari gets frustrated with Clark and gets the foul. So that one was warranted. Like I said, lots of turnovers for the Sparks. It was turnover city. Jackson drives and gets the foul on Boston, and Jackson ends up making those free throws. It's 53-56 at the end of the third. Sparks are still up despite these turnovers. I'm kind of surprised they were able to get the lead back, but Fever made some really great adjustments, and at that point, I still said, I was like, it's the fourth quarter. I think that the Fever are going to be able to win this game. I think it's going to happen. Taylor Green ends up doing a performance between the third and fourth quarter, in between the quarters. I thought was interesting, but she was doing a cover of the Fugees' Killing Me Softly, and fans were into it. They were singing along. They did this like cell phone light up in the arena. That was pretty cool. Made the arena dark, and then all the cell phones came out. That was like I said, LA knows how to entertain. They really do. Then we get into the fourth quarter. Clark goes for a 3 and gets blocked. Whatever. Boston does get the ball and banks it in, though, so it wasn't for nothing. But then Stephanie Talbot blocks the hell out of Fag Binley. Oh my God, fuck. She blocks Timmy so hard. I was like, God damn, Steph, where you been? Where you been all game? Like, where have you been? And then on the other end, Aaliyah Boston blocks Cam's shot super hard, but Fag Binley commits the foul right before, so Fag Binley gets the foul, and Cam ends up making both free throws. Clark again tries for a 3 and can't make it. Just like, girl, stop it, trying. Stop. I mean, I want to tell someone stop shooting, but when you're not having a good night, like, why keep trying? Whatever. Kelsey Mitchell does hit the 3 right after, and most people, I think, forget about Kelsey Mitchell. She was the leading scorer for the Fever for the past 2 years. She is the person on that team who is the actual better player, and people don't even think about her because she was the all-time scorer for college for a couple of years until Clark and Deasia Fair came up behind her, and now she's number 3, but she was number 1 for like 3 or 4 years until Clark came up and Deasia came up, and people will be forgetting about her, and I'm like, oh, because you didn't watch any Fever games in the past 2 years, so you don't know that Kelsey Mitchell is a bucket, and she was going off. It's 60-58, 6 minutes left, Fever up. The crowd, the cameras point out that Tinashe is there, the R&B singer. They said that she had sung earlier in the day, and I'm like, oh, I guess they must have done that maybe in between the first and second broadcast. I don't know, maybe she sung the national anthem, who knows, but they didn't show it to us. It wasn't broadcast, which a little offended by, but it's fine. Back to the game. Lasia is on Clark's ass. She is on her. She's been on her most of the game, and she was pretty effective. Ari was on her a little bit. She was a little bit effective, but I would say Lasia Clarendon was the better defender on Clark, and she should have. I keep misgendering Lasia. I'm so sorry, Lasia. They should have been on Clark most of the entire game. I think they were incredibly effective in forcing her to pass and not get her shots off. But Clark was passing very well to Timmy Fagbinley. It was a really good matchup, and Fagbinley was able to, off of those passes, make her shots. But then Kelsey Mitchell starts going off because Kelsey Mitchell doing Kelsey Mitchell shit. She was hitting so many threes, just boop, boop, boop. They kept leaving her alone. I don't know what they were doing. It goes 69-62, 4 minutes left in the fourth. I'm like, Fever up 7 points? Oh, they definitely win in this game. No matter what happens, I was like, they win it. They're going to win this game. And then Caitlin Clark commits an inbound violation. She inbounds the ball incorrectly. So that's some rookie shit right there. So the ball goes back to the Fever, but they end up messing it up, and LA gets the ball back. It's fine. And then Clark finally hits a goddamn three with 2 minutes and 21 seconds left in the fourth. It took her the whole game to make that, but she missed her first 7. But she made it. Finally, I guess. I mean, at that point, it's kind of irrelevant. They're playing so well, but great. She makes her 3. Sparks turn over the ball and commit a foul, and it might be a clear path. They end up reviewing it, and it's a clear path. So Kelsey Mitchell ends up taking that free throw. It's 73-66, 2 minutes, 15 seconds left. I did notice that there were a couple times that Fever did bounce the ball outside the baseline, and it wasn't called, and that happened here. Christy Wallace definitely bounced the ball outside the baseline. It doesn't get called, and then right after Brink commits a foul that did not need to be a foul, unnecessary foul, turns over the ball. This is some rookie shit. This is rookie shit on both sides. For Cameron Brink, for Kia Jackson, for Caitlin Clark, they both were doing some rookie shit, and it was quite annoying. But you gotta play through it. They gotta learn. They gotta figure it out. Whatever. Cameron Brink gets her 5th foul. But right after, Brink hits a 3, redeem herself. But it's still kind of funny. Aaliyah Boston commits an offensive foul on Brink and gets her 5th foul. It's 73-61 with 1 minute left. Lexi Brown hits a 2. It's 73-71. I'm like, oh shit, they're still up. I'm like, this is still Fever's game. And then Clark hits another 3. Not surprised, but kind of surprised. I mean, it's 27 seconds left. It's like, you turned it on in the last 2 minutes. Like, where were you? Whatever. So then 76-71. LA tries to hit a 3. They can't. Nurse ends up fouling Clark, but they aren't in the bonus. But Christy Size ends up taking a timeout anyway. They have 14 seconds left. LA inbounds the ball, unable to make the shot. They foul Mitchell to get, I think Fever had the ball. LA foul Mitchell so they can get the ball back, but Mitchell makes both of those free throws. It's 78-71, 12.5 seconds left. It's pretty much a done deal at this point. Eric Hamby does get it 2 points up, so it's 78-73, but that means nothing. The game's over. Fever win. Finally, the Fever win. Now they are 1-5. It's the beginning of the season. They have plenty of time. There's that Olympic break as well, so there's plenty of time to get better. The box score for this was for the Sparks. Cameron Brink had 15 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks. She almost had a double-double. De'Arca Hambry had 18 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists for the double-double. She was the best player on the floor. Kia Jackson had 16 points. The rookies, the rookies in double figures. I love to see it. Ray Burrell and Azure Stevens is out. I believe they're for injury, so they didn't play at all. For the Fever, Aaliyah Boston had 17.6 rebounds. Kelsey Mitchell had 18 points. Clark had 11 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. So she had a really good game. She had a double-double. She only had 2 turnovers. Look at that improvement. Good on you, girl. Timmy Fenbigley had 17 points and 6 rebounds. Again, Grace Berger, Lexi Hull, Celeste Taylor, and Victoria Saxton did not play. I'm like, what's the point of even having them on the team? You're never going to play them. I really do feel that when Grace Berger and Lexi Hull are on the floor, they really affect the game, and they could have made a big impact in the first and second quarter because they weren't playing very well. The Fever weren't playing very well in that quarter, but whatever reason, Chrissy Size decides not to play them. Anywho, after the game, they interview Clark and Boston, and I think it's funny that Clark says that she played a good game, and I'm like, I don't know, you played a good game in the second half. In the first half, you were trash, but, in the fourth quarter, you really went off. So, yeah, I guess you did, but really what she did was she affected the game with her passing. And who had the good game, who actually had a good game, was Aaliyah Boston, Timmy Fagbenley, and Kelsey Mitchell. They actually played great games, and they're the reason why they won the game. And I have to say, Clark is kind of boring in interviews. She's kind of a boring person, to be honest. Like, she's not an interesting person, online or offline. But, she hits the logo threes, and that's why people like to see her, because it reminds them of Steph Curry, I guess, and that's interesting. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. I mean, Tina Thompson used to hit logo threes, too. I mean, I don't know. I do think it is because she's straight and white, and that's the media in the general public are interested in the game, because the game is mostly black women and it's a lot of gay women, and that is not socially acceptable in the world, and it's hard for people to accept that they can ball, because people are sexist and racist, and that's the truth, even if you don't want to admit it. But the league has always been good, as displayed here, and it's displayed in all the other games. There's so many other teams that are are playing great and are not losing, not going 0-5. But we're focusing on Clark because she is supposedly bringing a lot of people. But I would say that Cameron Brink, Rakia Jackson, Angel Reese are actually bringing just as many people to the league, but they don't get as much attention social by the media, and that's just unfortunate. And I would also say that they're more interesting off the court. Like, they have style, they're like fashionistas, they know celebrities, they're way more interesting. Even in interviews, they're more interesting, to be honest. I just think Clark's like a boring person. She's interesting on the court, but off, yeah. Even when she talks on, like, no, I think she's like a boring person. But whatever. I feel like Brianna Stewart's kind of boring too, but she's a great player. But like off the court, she's incredibly boring. Deanna Taurasi, very boring off the court, fantastic on the court. She's a great shit talker though. I love her shit talking, but kind of boring. Her commentary is good though, but her life is boring, because she don't be on social media, so I don't really know what she's like. But yeah, just an observation. I'm not trying to hate on Clark, but I do think that she's a boring person. And maybe as time goes on, she'll develop some kind of personality and will be more interesting. But as of right now, she's playing it safe, and that's good. Congratulations to the Fever. They finally won a game. This will be great for their confidence going forward. Maybe they will win a few more after this. But they play the Aces next game, and I don't think they're gonna win that. It's not likely. I think they'll play really well. Don't doubt that. But will they win that game? No. It could be close. Maybe they'll be close. Maybe they'll be close, but I don't see that happening. But yeah, congratulations to the Fever, and congratulations to women's basketball. Just love it. It's always been this fun, but it is nice to have more eyeballs on it and getting more media attention. I do appreciate that. But anyway, I'm done jibber jabbing. I've been talking for almost 30 minutes. If you like this content, please go ahead, like, share, subscribe. Again, I don't have the comment section on because I don't care what you think about me. All right, see y'all.